Welcome to the Explainer. So let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why our biggest, most important goals just seem to, I don't know, slip right through our fingers? We set the intention, we get super excited, and then, boom, inevitably, life just happens. Well, today, we're unpacking this incredible concept called the Big Framework. That stands for Blueprint Inner Governance. Basically, this material gives us a highly structured, super practical system to help us stop aimlessly drifting and start actively directing our lives. I'm really excited to explore this with you, so let's just dive right in. So really, why do those massive goals always seem to stay just out of reach? Honestly, most people think the problem is a lack of mentorship or, maybe they assume the ultra-successful are just hiding some secret path from the rest of us. But according to this framework, that's really only a tiny fraction of the story. The actual root cause, the real monster standing smack in the middle of our way, well, it isn't a lack of resources. It's fear. But hold on, we're not talking about fear in the traditional sense of, being scared of the dark or something. What's absolutely fascinating about this framework is how it completely flips the script on that obstacle. FEAR, forget everything and reset. I love this because it empowers us to look at fear not as this massive, unbreakable brick wall, but as a reset point. Think about it. Instead of just freezing up when things get really tough, it's about taking a deep breath right at your desk, slowing those racing thoughts down, and realizing you aren't starting from scratch. You're starting from your own valuable experience. You literally just pause, hit reset, and figure out how to make things work with the knowledge you've already got in your toolkit. To actually get to that level of mastery, here's the blueprint we're going to build together today. First, the reset point. Second, defining your purpose. Third, the big pillars. And finally, mastery through daily action. All right, moving into part one, the reset point, moving from reaction to creation. Life can feel incredibly chaotic sometimes, right? But the framework points out a pretty hard truth. It feels chaotic not because we don't have enough time, but because we completely lack order. The old way, our default programming really, is that we're born into these systems designed for us to just follow along. We're essentially trained to move in pre-existing patterns, just reacting to whatever happens to get thrown our way. But this new path, this inner governance, it requires an active choice. If you want a totally different life, you absolutely have to think differently. You've got to break those old, dusty patterns and intentionally create new ones. Which brings us to part two, defining your purpose, your inner compass. So once your mind is reset and you're actively breaking those old patterns, you absolutely 100% need a definite direction. Without an inner compass, you're just going to get completely lost in the noise. And a true, definite purpose isn't just something you casually pick off a menu because it sounds impressive at a dinner party. It's something that deeply, fundamentally challenges you. It pushes you way, way beyond your comfort zone. And yeah, it's probably going to make other people question you. It should feel significantly bigger than your current situation. And when you finally find that goal, disregard the strange looks, totally ignore the whispers, and just lock on. Now, pursuing a goal that massive requires a very specific mindset. The framework uses another great acronym here, FITH. Forget all, I'm trusting him. Now, quick caveat here. Him in this context actually refers to the power inside me. It completely demystifies the whole concept. It's not about some blind belief. It's about deep, unshakable self-trust. It's about actually relying on your own inner voice and trusting your gut to keep you moving forward, especially, and I mean especially during those moments when the path ahead looks totally foggy and isn't perfectly clear to you yet. And that self-trust is anchored by a pretty universal principle, the law of return. Basically, you reap exactly what you sow. If you want profound growth, you've got to be willing to first plant the seed of effort. If you want opportunities to just unexpectedly drop into your lap, you have to plant the seed of service. And if you want actual long-term success, you've got to plant daily discipline. It's like a garden, right? Nothing is going to grow without you planting a seed in the dirt first. This principle perfectly sets the stage for the actual structure we need to house this whole new mindset. Okay, let's jump to part three, the big pillars, organizing the mind. So this is the part where we shift from that internal mindset to a solid external structure. Because look, without structure, your purpose is just going to fade away. And without order, all that effort you're putting in, completely wasted. So here are the three pillars that organize the mind and actually turn those abstract ideas into real measurable results. Step one is the blueprint, step two is inner command, and step three is the governance of growth. Let's break each one of these down so you can actually start using them today. All right, Pillar 1 is the blueprint, and this is entirely rooted in the law of organized planning. Because let's face it, a purpose without a plan is literally just a wish. Progress only kicks off when you break those massive goals down. So the framework uses the acronym SHORT for this. Simple, hour, organized, repeatable, trainable. In practice, this means taking your giant abstract goal and just simplifying it. The hour part means dedicating a specific, highly focused chunk of time. Repeatable means you're building a daily system, not a one-off event. Real progress? It's built from blueprints that are drawn up in silence.
Moving on to Pillar 2, inner command. Think about taking a truly deliberate moment for yourself here. This is all about taking absolute control over your attention and your emotions. Your focus is sacred, guys, and you have to guard it fiercely from all the daily noise and distraction. And when it comes to emotions, the framework teaches this concept called the pause of dominion. It's literally just taking a beat. You take a breath, you think, and you intentionally choose your response, rather than just flying off the handle and reacting on pure impulse to whatever craziness is happening around you. And then we have Pillar 3, the governance of growth, which is built on 3 core daily actions: discipline, service, and reflection. Discipline is, well, it's just doing what needs to be done, whether you actually feel motivated to do it or not. Service is about giving way more value than anyone expects. And honestly, this is exactly how those unexpected doors end up opening for you. And finally, reflection. This one is absolutely vital. It's the process of looking at your experiences, the massive wins and the really painful losses, and actually turning them into wisdom so that tomorrow is at least a little bit better than today. Finally, we arrive at Part 4, Mastery Through Daily Action, the execution system. Okay, this is where the rubber really meets the road. We're taking everything we just talked about and forging it into a rigid, highly actionable execution system. The core of this is the hour of dominion. Imagine taking one sacred, totally focused hour of your day and dedicating it entirely to planning and reflection. Just one single hour. But that 1 hour literally sets the tone for your 24/7 internal governance. It ensures that your time is actively working for your purpose, instead of you just being dragged around by the endless demands and distractions of everybody else's day. To actually structure that day, the framework gives us what it calls a Mastery of Order workbook. Let's just walk through how this looks from morning to night. So your day kicks off with morning rituals. This is where you literally affirm your purpose out loud and intentionally set your emotional tone for the day, before you even think about checking your phone. Then you move into your daily actions. This means executing that hour of dominion, holding a specific, unbroken focus for 60 seconds, and using that pause of dominion we talked about whenever the stress hits. Finally, you wrap up the day with the nightly review, or the book of order. This is your time to reflect on what worked, course correct where you slipped up, and genuinely practice some deep gratitude. I want us to really truly internalize this final truth here. Order creates clarity, clarity builds discipline, and discipline produces results. It's a chain reaction. When you finally start governing yourself using this blueprint, you completely stop drifting aimlessly on the ocean of life. You grab the wheel, and you start directing your life with incredible, undeniable purpose. This framework isn't just theory. It gives you the literal power to transform your everyday chaos into structured, measurable progress. So I guess the only question left is this. How will you govern yourself today? You've got the blueprint now. You understand the reset point. You've got your inner compass, you know the pillars, and you have the daily actions. So are you going to just fall back into those old default patterns, or are you going to take your very first pause of dominion right now? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Now get out there and start building your blueprint.